everybody.
Tonight, Barack Obama denounces the media blitz by his former pastor, Jeremiah Wright.
I am outraged by the comments that were made and saddened over the spectacle.
I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, soaring gas prices. The president says there is no quick fix.
You know, if there was a magic wand to wave, I'd be waving it.
A tornado and a miracle.
Tornado on the ground!
A Virginia town is turned into splinters, but no one is killed. And they waited hours for what could be the hottest new game ever, as the video industry gives Hollywood a run for your money.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. 1 week before critical primaries in North Carolina and Indiana, Barack Obama shifted today into major damage control, all but severing his ties to the pastor he once defended, the Reverend Jeremiah Wright. Obama denounced Wright's appearance yesterday before an audience of journalists in Washington, saying he was outraged by the minister's remarks. Dean Reynolds is covering the Obama campaign.
Hello, everybody.
Shocked, angered, and clearly anguished, Barack Obama tried to right his campaign today by denouncing his unrepentant preacher.
I am outraged by the comments that were made and saddened over the spectacle that we saw yesterday.
Reverend Jeremiah Wright's remarks before the National Press Club had, said Obama, provided comfort to those who spread hatred.
God damns some practices.
Widened the nation's divisions and were breathtakingly selfish.
There are no excuses. They offend me. They rightly offend all Americans. That did not matter to Reverend Wright. What mattered was him commanding center stage.
Obama said the appearance amounted to an amplification of what he called outrageous and insensitive views, that the U.S. government intentionally spread AIDS to blacks, or that black Muslim leader Louis Farrakhan, an outspoken anti-Semite, is somehow worthy of praise.
He is one of the most important voices in the 20th and 21st century.
And that the 9/11 attacks were a comeuppance for America's own terrorism.
You cannot do terrorism on other people and expect it never to come back on you. Those are biblical principles, not Jeremiah Wright bombastic, divisive principles.
But I don't think that anybody could attribute those ideas to me.
Wright's suggestion that Obama's earlier criticism of him was just a political move really struck a nerve.
Then he questions whether or not you believe it in front of the National Press Club. Then that's enough.
The language was tougher than last month when Obama stopped short of politically excommunicating Wright.
I can no more disown him than I can disown the black community.
And as the Clinton campaign was eager to point out this afternoon, and even provided a YouTube link for reporters, it was only last June that Obama was extolling Wright.
He's a friend and a great leader.
Yesterday's wording did not differ markedly from the sermons Wright delivered in the past, so why the change in Obama's tone today?
The person I saw yesterday was not the person that I had come to know over 20 years.
But there's another reason to be sure. After a week's worth of the gospel, according to Jeremiah Wright, the Obama campaign is in a defensive crouch. And with voters going to the polls in Indiana and North Carolina in a week's time, it's vital for Obama to put Wright's rants, as he calls them, behind him, something he has so far been unable to do. Katie?
Dean Reynolds reporting from Chicago tonight. Jeff Greenfield is our CBS News senior political correspondent. Jeff, did Barack Obama have a choice, or did he have to definitively distance himself today from Jeremiah Wright?
He did, Katie. Jeremiah Wright's occupation of center stage was blocking everything else about Obama. And more to the point, Wright's insistence that to attack him was to attack the black church was defining Obama in an odd way in terms of race. The one definition Obama has spent a year trying to say, that's not what I'm all about.
So clearly his association with Wright has not been helpful to his candidacy, but I guess that's an understatement.
Understatement of the year.
Is today's repudiation enough to kind of control the damage?
I think that's going to depend on whether people see this as a genuine act of indignation Obama's saying this man was questioning my honesty in separating myself from him, calling it political. If they see that as a way of saying he is clearly a marginal figure now, or if they see it as a politically calculated move, and we don't know yet.
Why do you think Jeremiah Wright is doing this?
I cannot see into Reverend Wright's motives, but I can say this. If Reverend Wright had set out to do as much damage to Obama as he wanted, he couldn't have picked a better venue and a better way of arguing.
And does the Clinton campaign, meanwhile, Jeff, have to be careful about how it exploits this situation?
Well, as you heard, they're perfectly happy to point to past comments by Obama that say, oh, he is indeed my pastor. But they do. There's an old rule in politics, don't interfere with the enemy when he's hurting himself, and that's probably how they're looking at this right now, Katie.
All right, Jeff Greenfield. Jeff, thank you so much. The next president, by the way, could be inheriting a lot of economic headaches. The incumbent acknowledged today it is, in fact, a tough time. New reports show home values took their biggest drop in at least 7 years. Gas prices hit another all-time high, and consumer confidence is at a 5-year low. Here's our chief White House correspondent, Jim Axelrod.
While all the basics are busting Americans' budgets, it is gasoline topping their worry list.
The American people got to understand that here in the White House, we are concerned about high gasoline prices.
A new poll from the Kaiser Family Foundation puts gas prices ahead of health care and housing costs. 44% say the price of gas is a serious problem, including more than a quarter of households making at least $75,000 a year.
I think that if there was a magic wand to say, okay, drop price, I'd do that. But there is no magic wand to wave right now.
Although that might be a tough sell with many Americans on a day when BP and Shell both announced record profits last quarter. BP up 63%, a $7.6 billion profit. Shell up 25%, just over $9 billion.
Gas prices are skyrocketing and she's ready to act again.
On the campaign trail, both Hillary Clinton and John McCain are calling for federal gas taxes to be suspended for the summer. That's 18.4 cents a gallon. Still, that only adds up to $2 to $3 a tank on most fill-ups. Not a long-term solution, says economist Mark Zandi.
The problem is high oil prices. The high oil price isn't going to come down just because we temporarily cut the federal tax on gasoline.
That's Barack Obama's thinking. He calls it a gimmick.
This isn't an idea designed to get you through the summer. It's an idea designed to get them through an election.
At his news conference today, President Bush wouldn't commit.
Y'all consider the ideas. If it's a good idea, we embrace it. If not, we're analyzing the different ideas coming forward.
A senior administration official tells me that with Obama and Clinton on different sides of this idea, he doesn't expect Democratic leaders on Capitol Hill to push it very hard at all. Katie?
Jim Axelrod at the White House tonight. Meanwhile, Virginia is still reeling tonight after 6 rare tornadoes obliterated entire neighborhoods in the southeastern part of the state. The twisters touched down outside Norfolk. In the town of Suffolk, hundreds of people were injured and dozens of homes destroyed. Susan Roberts is on the scene.
Rescue dogs were searching the debris today, but remarkably, it was unnecessary. No one died despite the long trail of destruction left by the twisters.
It seemed like about 15 seconds going over our heads, and the ceiling was falling, the metal was tearing, the floor was coming up.
They touched down across southeastern Virginia.
Tornado on the ground! Tornado on the ground!
The first serious twisters in nearly 15 years. Main Street in the small town of Driver was almost wiped out.
Hurricanes have come and gone and never touched my house, and here I am at work and just getting nailed by a tornado.
The biggest of the twisters hit the city of Suffolk, tracing a 10-mile zigzag path through neighborhoods, shopping centers, and medical buildings. Stephanie King was at work with her children.
The nurse practitioner and I kind of exchanged a look like, what's going on? And then we heard something, and I looked up and saw the debris in the swirl out the window. And I looked at her and I said, tornado. And she grabbed one of my children and I grabbed the other.
There was a human cost. More than 200 people were injured, 6 of them critically. Many more were just thankful that the cost wasn't higher. Katie?
Susan Roberts. Susan, thanks very much. Now to the growing tensions between the United States and Iran over that country's nuclear program, as well as accusations that it's supporting Iraqi insurgents. As David Martin reports tonight, the U.S. military is ready to send an unmistakable message to the Iranians.
A second American aircraft carrier steamed into the Persian Gulf today as the Pentagon ordered military commanders to develop new options for attacking Iran. Planning is being driven by what one officer called the increasingly hostile role Iran is playing in Iraq, smuggling weapons into Iraq for use against American troops.
What the Iranians are doing is killing American servicemen and women and inside Iraq.
U.S. officials are also concerned by Iranian harassment of U.S. ships in the Persian Gulf, as well as Iran's still growing nuclear program. New pictures of Iran's uranium enrichment plant show the country's defense minister in the background, as if deliberately mocking a recent finding by U.S. intelligence that Iran had ceased work on a nuclear weapon. No attacks are imminent, and the last thing the Pentagon wants is another war. But the chairman of the Joint Chiefs has warned Iran not to assume the U.S. military can't strike.
I have reserve capability in particularly our Navy and our Air Force. So it would be a mistake to think that we are out of combat capability.
Targets would include everything from the plants where weapons are made to the headquarters of the organization known as the Quds Force, which directs operations in Iraq. Later this week, Iraqi Prime Minister Maliki is expected to confront the Iranians with evidence of their meddling and demand a halt.
And if that doesn't produce results, the State Department has begun drafting an ultimatum which would tell Iran to knock it off or else. Katie?
David Martin at the Pentagon tonight. David, thank you. In Iraq today, Shiite fighters ambushed a U.S. patrol in Baghdad's Sadr city, firing rocket-propelled grenades and machine guns from rooftops and alleys. 6 American soldiers were wounded. U.S. forces then retaliated with their own rocket attack that destroyed 3 houses. Hospital officials say at least 25 people were killed, many of them civilians. And remember Tariq Aziz? He was one of Saddam Hussein's best-known lieutenants. Aziz, once Iraq's deputy prime minister, went on trial in Baghdad today, charged with authorizing the execution of 42 men following the first Gulf War. Now 72, he could face the death penalty if convicted. There is much more CBS News ahead. He fought in Iraq. Now he's fighting at home for benefits to pay for his college education. But up next, senior citizens running up credit card debt and turning to their children for a bailout. Americans are addicted to plastic these days. By the end of last year, we were drowning in an ocean of credit card debt, $941 billion deep. And it might surprise you to know that more and more older Americans are taking on debt they just can't handle and winding up in big trouble. Tonight, Anthony Mason with another in our series, Life and Debt in America.
We got this CEI bill.
Joe and Jane Talaba are in trouble.
Did it kind of just sneak up on you? What happened?
Yeah.
The retired GM worker and his wife almost lost their Ohio home.
Sell this house out from under us.
Because as prices rose and their incomes remained fixed, they ran up their credit card bills.
You get these credit card offers and they say this low interest rate, and you fall for it.
The Talabas fell $57,000 in debt before they asked for help.
That's not a call that a son usually expects to get.
No, it was complete surprise.
Joe Talaba Jr. had to take over his parents' finances.
And then I've already taken care of the rent for this month.
And help them file for bankruptcy.
How did you feel about having to file for bankruptcy?
Terrible.
Terrible.
But seniors like the Talabas are the fastest growing group in bankruptcy court because credit card debt has been soaring for the newly retired, from an average of less than $2,000 to nearly $6,000 in a decade.
They're pretty typical, unfortunately.
Mickey Rabin, the Talabas' bankruptcy attorney, says parents are often ashamed to ask for help.
It's when the kids find out. That's when they come to see me. And the kids bring them.
This is your electric bill.
The role reversal can be uncomfortable, but credit counselors recommend having frank discussions with your parents about their finances and to look for any drastic changes in their spending habits that could signal money problems.
To get out of this, you're putting the property up for sale.
Right, yeah.
You have to do that.
We have to do that.
By selling their home and moving to an apartment, the Talibas should be able to clear their debts. Meanwhile, their son says the credit offers keep coming.
This is a car dealer here.
MasterCard.
MasterCard.
You're still getting these even though they're in bankruptcy.
Yes.
It's now Joe Jr.'s job to make sure his parents never see them. Anthony Mason, CBS News, Olmsted Falls, Ohio.
And by the way, these economic hard times have put debt collectors on Easy Street. And tomorrow we'll tell you what you need to know if they come knocking at your door as our series continues. When we come back, veterans who thought the GI Bill would pay for their education learned some hard lessons here at home. In Washington today, some veterans turned out to fight one more battle for a new GI Bill. At a rally, they called on Congress to provide desperately needed money for education. And as Thalia Ashuris tells us, some soldiers who paid a high price in Iraq and Afghanistan are paying again when they come home.
I was holding up like this.
28-year-old Marine Todd Bowers was almost killed by this bullet still lodged in his rifle scope, a constant reminder of how narrowly he escaped death in Iraq. Home now, he's facing a much different challenge.
Yeah, I can't afford it, no ma'am.
Resuming college. He thought his GI benefits would cover the cost.
I was as surprised as I think all of America is. I hear from a lot of my friends who have not served, and even family, they say, well, you served in the military, so your college is paid for.
In fact, military recruiting ads virtually promise a college education.
Up to $71,000 for college.
It's the reason Drew Cameron signed up for the Army. But currently at the University of Vermont, he says he's struggling financially, and he's bitter.
It's not this glorious opportunity that I perceived it was and how it was sold to me.
Both men are entitled to financial help under the GI Bill, which covered all costs for World War II veterans. Almost 8 million vets benefited. But today, with expenses exploding, the value of the benefit has plummeted. Attending a public college costs an average of almost $13,000 a year. The GI Bill pays about half that amount. Was it a hard decision to say, I've got to just stop going to school?
It was very hard. It was difficult. It was embarrassing.
Todd Bowers says he had to drop out of George Washington University despite loans and part-time jobs. He's now working with a veterans group to change the GI Bill. It could happen. Momentum, including today's rally, is building in Congress for a bill that would give the same benefits enjoyed by World War II vets to those who enlisted after September 11th.
For all the people who have been saying that this is the new greatest generation, this is the easiest way for all of us to prove that.
Nearly 2 million vets are eligible for the benefit, which would cover tuition even at the most expensive in-state public university and provide stipends for housing and books.
We will always be there to answer the call to defend our nation, but we want to make sure our nation is going to be there to defend us.
Todd Bowers says no matter what, he'll finish what he started.
I may be 60 years old, but I'm going to graduate from the school.
He just hopes his country will fulfill its promises to him. Thalia Ashuris, CBS News, Washington.
Turning to health news now, a lot of young children apparently are not getting their recommended vaccinations. The CDC reported today that more than a quarter of all kids between 18 months and 3 years are missing doses or getting them at the wrong age or wrong time, which can make them ineffective. The CDC says vaccine schedules are complicated and it's often difficult for busy parents to keep up with them. Coming up next, Grand Theft Auto, the video game phenomenon that's racing away with a fortune. Finally tonight, what may be the year's biggest blockbuster was released today, but not at the multiplex. It's a video game, the latest in the hugely popular and very violent Grand Theft Auto series. Here's Daniel Seberg.
Hijacking cars, assaulting pedestrians.
Maybe we can kiss. Why not?
Picking up strange women. It's the latest version of the controversial video game Grand Theft Auto, and it's expected to be one of the top-selling titles of all time.
You can pick up guns, knives, you can now choose to punch, kick, headbutt people, stab them, whatever you choose to do, and even confront the police.
But game reviewer Scott Steinberg says it's not all mayhem.
The most impressive feature of Grand Theft Auto 4 isn't the sex, it's not the violence, it's the storytelling and the depth to which the creators, Rockstar Games, have gone to make you feel like you're in a believable world.
It's a world gamers were lining up all night long to enter. The 4th edition could sell as many as 6 million copies this week, generating more than $400 million over time. That's more than last year's top-grossing movie, Spider-Man 3.
In the battle for your entertainment dollars, video games make just as much money as Hollywood's box office, with Americans spending nearly $10 billion on each.
Consumers are seeing games in the same light as they see movies, as pure entertainment.
So Hollywood wants to join forces, basing movies on video games and vice versa, something that video game expert Hal Halpin says will only benefit the consumer.
But on the movie side, you'll get more compelling characters and more interesting ways to interact with them, not just in the movie theater, but also based on games.
Of course, that's assuming you'll want to spend more time with characters like these. Daniel Seberg, CBS News, Los Angeles.
No thanks. That is the CBS Evening News for tonight. I'm Katie Couric. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.